Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network. And as you know, weekly we do a question and answer article that I know that many of you enjoy because I hear that from you. And we also do an accompanying video with that in a podcast, and that's what this is today. Uh, we got a lot of questions that we're answering in the Q&A. I really encourage you to get over there and to check it out. But I wanted to address an interesting question that there's a lot of hoopla going on right now. And I'm checking for the actual email that I'm going to read in a minute. But there's a lot of hoopla going on right now from people um, about Jon Gruden. And we had a person email this week and ask about an article that we did on May 31st of 2022, over a year ago, about the Jon Gruden situation, in which a very respected attorney predicted that Roger Goodell is going to end up losing his job. I still believe that. When you look at all of the circumstances of the Jon Gruden lawsuit, he settles with the Raiders quickly, wants no issue with them. He's using attorneys that the Raiders use. Now, I'm guarantee you, Jon is a millionaire, but those attorneys are not going to be representing him without, at least in my opinion, a tacit approval from Mark Davis. And I find it fascinating how this whole thing's going to roll out, because Jon's not suing them for money. Jon has plenty of money. Jon's suing them and going after them on principle, on the principles that he believes. So I think this is going to get really nasty, and I do believe it's going to end with Roger Goodell losing his job. That being said, I think it's a fascinating time in the National Football League. You've heard us discuss it. In fact, don't miss tomorrow's podcast, because we're really going to dig in on, does the NFL need a COO who handles football and a CEO that handles the business side? So it's going to be a very fascinating podcast. I don't want you to miss it. But I think the Jon Gruden thing, if you go to the article, you can click the link to the original story from over a year ago and watch that video. But it gives a lot of compelling reasons why this is a lawsuit that's not common with the NFL. The NFL is used to being able to pay people off or getting people to dismiss things. Well, the Nevada courts are not dismissing anything, number one. And number two, Jon doesn't need to be paid off. He's got plenty of money. So I think it's going to be fascinating to watch how this entire thing works out. Now, I want to address a question. And again, this person just so this person says this to me. Hondo, appreciate your work on Roger Goodell. Now that other people are finally talking about it a year later, thought that it would be good to just tell you I remember that and appreciate it. But here's my question. Do you see a scenario in which Josh McDaniels gets fired in 2023? No. Okay. Now, yeah. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy for all 17 games, if the team is relatively healthy and, wins 1-2 games, sure. I think that would be a scenario where it would be a viable discussion. But no, there really isn't. Mark Davis wanted these guys. He's going to be patient with them. He craves long-term stability. So no, I don't see a realistic scenario at all in which Josh McDaniels loses his job. I think he's going to be your coach for a little while. And I think that a lot of people, and I understand fans are going to have whatever opinion you want. You're certainly entitled to it. I'm not going to tell you how to think. But I think a lot of people saying, let's just get this season over and fire Josh, you're wasting yourself, because it's a very slim margin for him to lose his job. I think he's going to be here a few years. And so I think that's just a boat that you may not like him, but you get on because you're a Raider fan. Last one comes in, and this one is from Peter. And Peter says, Hondo, do you think the Raiders get a long-term deal with Josh Jacobs? I know that you have said before you do not think that they will. Do you still believe that? Okay, I addressed this in the Q&A article, but I have no reason to change my stance on where I've been and what I believe. And so, no, I think there's a chance, but statistically, I'm far above 50% that they don't get a long-term deal done. And again, I think the Raiders have handled this correctly. Josh had a very good first 3 years. Everyone should give him credit for that, but he took himself out a lot. He got injured a lot. Then in a contract year, he played, like Tarzan. He was amazing last year, but it was a contract year. And in today's NFL, running backs are not getting long-term deals, but especially a guy that you're concerned about, does he go back to the first 3 years or does he play like last year? I think the Raiders are in a good spot. Leave him on a franchise tag. I think he's going to have a monster year. I do. I think Josh is going to have a monster. First of all, I think he's a great running back, and I like him as a person. And so I'm rooting for him to do well. And then the Raiders have to make a decision what they're going to do. But I don't think Josh walks away from $10+ million to make a point. So let's go back and review today. We talked to you about the Roger Goodell situation, that I do believe the Jon Gruden lawsuit is going to end up costing him his job. We have done a previous video on that. If you go and look at the article, you can see our weekly question answer article. There's a link to that original article that we did that explains why. And I think it's very legitimate. I think the NFL, and let me just say, in talking to people around the league, the NFL is afraid. And when I say the NFL, I'm not just talking about teams. Although if you're Dan Snyder, I'd be a little concerned. But I think the NFL corporate group, there's the teams and then there's the corporate offices. I think NFL corporate is very afraid of Jon Gruden. I think there is utter fear. They're not used to being punched back. It's like a bully. And a bully, they bully everybody because people let them. I remember years ago, there was a kid several years older than me. I mean, many, many years older than me. And he was trying to bully me. Now, I'm a big guy now, but I remember I'm young. And my dad one day found out about it. And he's like, well, why haven't you, what have you done about it? And I said, well, nothing. I just let it go, Dad. He's so much older, so much bigger, whatever. My dad said, here's what I want you to do. The next time he has physical contact with you, I just want you to go crazy. I want you to just beat him. And make sure everybody's there. So everybody's a witness because everyone knows what he's done to you because he would bully me in public. I go, Dad, he's going to crush me. He goes, he may. He says, but he'll never bully you again because he knows you pushed back. The NFL is not used to getting pushed back from people who have the ability to. There may have been some people who had the ability, but maybe didn't have the financial wherewithal for the attorneys, or maybe they didn't have the financial wherewithal for the fight or to sustain themselves for the fight. Jon Gruden isn't in any place that he can be bullied. And he's the guy punching back at the NFL. I think Jon Gruden's legacy is going to be he fundamentally pushed back. And if you remember the scene from Rocky IV, by the way, if you haven't seen Rocky IV, you should go see Rocky IV. Just rent it. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Max or whatever streaming place, but get that. Or buy the DVD, keep it in your home. It's one of those movies you want to watch. Great movie. But he's fighting Ivan Drago, the big Russian. And here's Rocky. He trains naturally. He's the all-American guy, not the biggest, but he's Rocky. Going against this big, huge Soviet Russian. He's jacked up on steroids, all this stuff. And at one point, Rocky says to his wife, you know what? I may lose and he may kill me. But to beat me, he's going to have to kill me. And is he willing to make that commitment? And the NFL has been Ivan Drago for a long time. They've been the big bully on the block. Now they're going against Rocky Balboa and Jon Gruden. And I think Jon Gruden's going to win this. I said it over a year ago. In fact, it was 14 months ago. You can go see the article. And I stand by it. Jon Gruden's going to make them pay. And then, of course, we addressed the Josh Jacobs situation. And again, I'm not reporting this as factual. I think they certainly could get one done. They could get a deal done. I said before, I thought probably 40% they get a deal done. I would say today I'm at 15 or 20% that they get a deal done. So I don't think they will. And then the last thing that I addressed in today's update was the status of Josh McDaniels. He's not going to go anywhere. I think there's a very slim percentage that, Jimmy's healthy for all 17 games. They're relatively healthy. They win, 0-1 or 2 games, maybe. But the thing is, he's going to be here a long time. Now, I'm never going to tell you what to think. That's not my job. And it would not be fair nor germane, nor is it even credible for a media member to think he has the right to tell people what to think. But I am going to give you information. And the information is it's very doubtful he's going anywhere. And so because of that, all of the energy that people are spending, let's get rid of Josh, let's get rid of Josh. I would step away from following a team rather than if all my energy was negative, if all of my attention was negative. I mean, enough's enough. And if you want to live your life unhappy, that's certainly your choice. But if your desire is Josh to be fired at the end of this year, I think 99.9% of you are going to be miserable. So just step away from it and just say, okay, I'll come back when Josh isn't here. But I'm just telling you, I think it's a decision that you have to make. I wouldn't make that one. I would understand the severity of where I'm at, what's going on, and understand that he's probably not going anywhere except in those very small scenarios that I gave you. And I hope that makes sense. Whether you agree or not, I'm not asking you to ever agree with me. My job is to give you the inside information and then allow you to formulate your own opinion. So if you don't agree with what I said, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not God. That's irrelevant to me. But I'm not giving you opinion. I'm sharing with you what I know and have learned. So there you go. Thanks for reading our weekly question and answer article. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We sure do appreciate you. I hope you have a terrific day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.